need for doctors' health at the GP level to be managed within the normal framework of health services in a society, and for some issues, perhaps like mental health, to have specific programs, and also to be aware of the occupational impact. One group mentioned specific occupational health support. I suppose at the end of the day, GPs are particularly focused on patient-centred care, and as a patient, I think we've all agreed that there are issues that doctors have that are different than the general population. We have issues of confidentiality and privacy and payment and awareness of the treating doctor, the level of awareness of the treating doctor. So as general practice or family medicine is ideal for this type of context of care, perhaps this is an opportunity for us as our homework from this particular session to take these views back to our own country and share them with colleagues and share them with your organisations. So I'm going to give that to you now as a little bit of homework. And I'd like to thank Margaret. Margaret, would you like to say a few final words as well, please? I'd like to thank Margaret for her participation here.
No.
I'm going to try and learn to speak slowly, and I'm about to delete 100 slides for my next presentation tomorrow and talk more slowly. So anyway, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it. Everyone was talking and engaging, and I really thought that that was a good thing. And I'd like to remind you of a comment that Amanda Howe made yesterday, because she was talking about the fact that we should follow up, and it was only briefly touched on that when, not necessarily a doctor coming to us as a patient, but if we talk to a friend and we find that they do have an issue, and I don't care if it's an ingrown toenail or whether it's, if they feel a bit stressed because something's happened in their family, but if we actually remind ourselves that with any other friend, we would probably ask them how they're going the next week or something like that when we see them again. In fact, we'd actually look for them to ask them that question. And I think maybe we should remember to do that for our colleagues as well, because we should recognise that our colleagues don't have that support necessarily, and are not necessarily going to ask us for that support. So we need to actually openly do that. And I'd like to remind you of the homework that Andre just said, and that is for us to be advocates of how to access healthcare. It was brought up that we need role models. I think we should be the role models, and that we should actually arrive at our surgery saying, well, I just went to the doctor, and everyone will look at you going, oh my goodness, what have I got an impaired colleague here? But that's okay, we just got to wear it and say, no, actually I went for my ingrown toenail. So, you don't actually have to disclose, but to actually show the medical students that we have in our practice, to show the junior doctors that we're working with, to show our registrars, everybody, that we actually go to the doctor and that it's normal and it's what we expect everyone to do. And to be openly free to have that conversation is important. And we should do that in an independent way, and that was brought up as well. One of the stories, and I think Amanda brought up yesterday how common it is when you start talking about doctors' health for people to tell stories. And one of the stories that one of the doctors told me is he said he went to the doctor, and he always had a doctor where he made an appointment. He went to the doctor who was a female doctor who actually worked in his own practice, but he never ever saw her during practice hours. He always made sure, well, it was when she was working, but when he had an afternoon off. So he actually made an official appointment. He did sit in the tea room rather than the waiting room. He said he felt more comfortable doing that, but he always made an appointment. He never interrupted her at any other time. And he made for even minor things like a sore throat, whether or not he needed antibiotics, he would ask her. And he always felt that she gave very good advice and could understand him. And then one day he woke up and realised he had an inguinal hernia. And he went, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because there was no way he was taking his pants off. And he said to his wife, he said, I don't know what to do. I can't take my pants off. And she said, I've been telling you for years to go to another practice. Why do you think I do? And so with that, he changed practices. And it was a revelation to him, because he had believed all his life that he was doing the right thing, doing doctor's health. And he felt that he was independent enough. And I think sometimes we have to constantly question how we're doing things, because even if we think we're doing it the right way, sometimes we haven't quite got it right, and we learn from our experiences.
Thank you very much.